Okay, welcome everybody to today's session of the Countdown to the Build a Better Business workshop. This is a preview series where Debra Taylor, the leader of the workshop, will be teaching you about what she's going to teach in the workshop itself and how it can better help you to serve your clients and gain new ones by working smarter and not harder. So if you want to go ahead and learn more about this 4-day virtual workshop, which runs July 11th, July 18th, the 25th, and then August 1st, go ahead and go to horsesmouth.com/workshops, where you can find it right at the top of that page. And for those of you joining us in Zoom, I will go ahead and put that link into the chat right now. And if you're watching a live stream on one of our socials, you can find the link beneath the player in the description section. Okay, so today we're actually going to look at the final day, day 4 of the workshop, which includes the session, Make Financial Planning the Cornerstone of Your Practice and How to Do It. And at this point, I will let Editor-in-Chief of Horse's Mouth, Sean Bailey, take it away.
Thanks, Doug, and welcome everybody. Thanks for being on with us. So, we're here to talk about Debbie's upcoming workshop, which is spread out through the entire month of July. And of course, everything is recorded for easy later viewing if you have something that gets in the way on your schedule. But it is a tremendous opportunity for people to, carve out a small amount of time in their summer schedule to, check in with Debbie, listen to what she and her team have pulled together, which is a smorgasbord of practice management insights and, action plans that you and your team can put your fingers on and move forward with if you see something that you like. And, dozens and dozens of advisors have told me that their businesses have completely changed after spending, 4 sessions with Debbie and her team with the Build a Better Business workshop. So our, the reason we're here today is to kind of just, advance what Debbie will be discussing in the 4th week of the program. And Debbie, thanks for being on again. And, this whole topic of making financial planning the cornerstone of your practice, something you've, obviously done. But what are people going to learn in the workshop that may be new to them? I see that you have quite a tech stack, a financial planning tech stack. So kind of set the table for us a little bit about what's going to be going on and why people should be interested in that.
Yeah. So, Sean, you and I have been together for 25 years, and I know we have a constant chuckle about whoever thought I'd be here advocating about your tech stack and how technology is so critical to the business, right? But the business has changed even within the last 2 or 3 years, even the last 6 months. The innovation, all this niche software is just unbelievable. And again, you're hearing this from somebody who's not necessarily an early adopter, or traditionally I hadn't been. But we are seeing this is revolutionizing our practice, enabling us to provide services that in the past were not scalable, were very difficult to actually provide, like in the tax planning area or risk analysis area. And this software is enabling us then to serve clients in a way that I never could have imagined, literally even a year or 2 ago, and doing it in a scalable and actually more quality-oriented way.
Yeah, I think it is an interesting observation to point out, as I just look here at a list of software programs that you're going to be discussing, eMoney, the Social Security tools, including Savvy Social Security, Alista Plan, Riskalyze, Covisum, LifeYield, Income Solver, Vanilla, and FP Alpha. And all of them come at different aspects of the challenges that all of our clients face in life. And you're so right. 15 years ago, the underlying challenges that these software packages address was there. Some of these software programs were also there, but a lot weren't. And it is interesting that, as we move forward in time and, software evolves, it becomes more powerful. Now we're seeing, AI, a lot of discussion about AI, and frankly, there probably is some AI in some of these programs out there that we don't even quite understand. Like Alista Plan, I don't know if it's I don't know what sort of algorithm it is that is analyzing people's tax plans, but it seems like it must be some sort of artificial intelligence, right? Some sort of machine language and we're going to be seeing these things, they're already seeping into all corners of life, but it is amazing that, these software programs have empowered advisors to deliver on a value proposition that they couldn't have even thought of 15 years ago. They could have talked about it and paid lip service to it, but the software programs themselves now move from closing the gap of, man, it would be really nice if someone on my staff could spend 15 hours analyzing every client's, tax return, each one at a time, but it was possible. Now it's totally possible. The scalability issues are unbelievable. I was talking with somebody earlier today about artificial intelligence, and they were having a conversation with one of the AI machines, and they were telling the AI machine that it was a bit disconcerting that you answer my questions so quickly, because it makes me think that you haven't really given it much thought. And the AI machine answered, oh, that's an interesting point. I see the observation you're making, but of course you realize we just have so much more computing power than you as a human does. And that's why we're able to produce such amazing answers in such a quick way. And of course, all that applies to any one of these software stack tech issues in front of us, right?
Yes.
Because like, for instance, when Elaine Floyd started out, 20 years ago working with Social Security, she kind of hammered together a bunch of, macro, Excel spreadsheet to do some of this stuff. And, members of the program could download this and put it on their desktop, and they could enter in this stuff. And, now that takes a lot longer compared to what we have now. It's much more streamlined, and boom, the results much more detailed. They're not just numbers in a column. They're graphs and charts and, all sorts of things. So,
and you don't have to worry about the human error as much. So that's the other part of it is like Elaine with her Social Security analysis, or me with my tax analysis, sitting down with the physical tax return, and then the checklist that Horse's Mouth had, and the AI CPA checklist, and literally going through these tax returns. So, I'm a CPA, I'm fairly knowledgeable in this, but you're always worried about what you're going to miss, the mistakes you're going to make. And these areas were so technical that you couldn't delegate them to a junior staff member, because you really needed to have that background technical knowledge. And now this software has come in and zip, 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 and you get, some type of analysis, some type of starting document. And I'm not saying you don't need to know anything, and that's going to do all your work for you, but you've taken out sort of those initial yeoman's work is what I call it, right? All those initial steps that are so prone to error that you'd have a junior person doing and making mistakes, or then you would have to do it, not necessarily high value work and not necessarily something the client wants to pay for. And so now we're able to come up with results and bring it to the client and start the dialogue on second base and get to second base in an effortless manner.
Right. So, so this last session is all about the software. How does it relate back to everything that's happened in the 3 previous sessions? What is your thinking about, the attendees are obviously going to get a big download here on all these different, major financial planning tech stack players?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it is all interconnected, right? Because this last day of the workshop is make financial planning the cornerstone of your practice. And in order to do that, you really need to leverage the technology. Okay. You can't do it without the technology. So these people who are like, oh yes, I use Excel spreadsheets to analyze Social Security. Like I literally laugh at them when I hear them come up with stuff like that. Right. And so we're doing this at the back end, but then it ties in with everything else that we're doing. It ties in with our messaging and the client experience and the fees that we're charging to clients, and even our niche market, because we're going to be developing processes around our target markets. And so it all works together.
Right. So somebody might be looking at this and say, oh, Lord, Debbie wants me to go out and buy 12 different software programs, and I've just been getting by with eMoney or Money Guide Pro or whatever. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, so I don't even use all these software programs. I think it's very personal to you and your practice and what you're trying to accomplish. So certain software programs could be very valuable and helpful, but they don't fit into my practice for whatever reason. And the same is going to apply to you. So the idea behind the workshop is to share ideas. And some of them are my ideas, but they're also ideas from your colleagues. And the colleagues bring a lot of great ideas to the workshop. And that's why we call it a workshop. And so the idea then is to share ideas. And then you walk away saying, hey, these are things I need to try out, or these are things that we need to investigate. But at least I'm helping to narrow this huge universe for you, right. Because it is overwhelming and it does take time. And I have a team and they know how to chase this stuff down for me. Unless you have a team that's working on it, this is very helpful then to cut through and jumpstart for you.
Right. You're kind of offering it up as pre-digested to some degree, because that is the truth. The explosion of new software on all fronts, quite amazing. And easily it's a full-time job for somebody to just be analyzing what's going on and seeing which ones work, which ones don't, which ones deliver on their promise, which ones are worth the money, all that sort of stuff. So people will be getting that as a sort of baseline of, at the end of this session, your final session, people will probably end up identifying maybe one or two applications that they think maybe they ought to, start taking some steps toward integrating into their practice, I would think, right?
That's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And also help you to keep an eye on certain trends, even if you're not ready to jump in now. So that's the other thing, is sometimes we'll have people on the workshop who are, let's say, newer to the industry, and they're just not there yet. But it doesn't mean 6 months or a year from now they're not there. Or same thing with experienced practitioners. I even know for myself, I'll go to a seminar or workshop and I'll say, wow, I really wish I could be doing that, but I don't have the bandwidth now for it. But then 6 months later, I have an intern or I have a new person on my team. And I'm like, yes, these are the projects that I wrote down. And I basically hit the snooze or the reminder on them. And I'm like, I'm ready now to jump in. So part of it is also sort of laying that foundation or planting those seeds for a future time.
Yeah, right. So, well, is there anything you particularly want to say about this list of programs here? I mean, you speak about holistic plan quite a lot. We talk about taxes quite a lot. So we kind of know where things are going there, but I know you use Riskalyze and you're a big promoter of that.
Yeah. So, a couple of things on this is, first of all, the Social Security tool is interesting. And I was, again, even talking to Bill about it this morning, Bill Nicklin. And so some of the Social Security tools that are built into the other software might not be as robust as the standalone tools, like what Horse's Mouth has.
Right.
So there's a conversation about that, which is very interesting, right? Money Guide Pro has a Social Security tool built in, not as robust as the standalone tools. And so we talk a bit about that.
Yeah.
And then Riskalyze is interesting. So they rebranded themselves a couple weeks ago, calling themselves Nitrogen. And I don't know enough about chemistry to understand why that's an impactful name. But it looks to me, and we're researching this now, and I'm going to bring this to the workshop. So within the next week or two, I'll have an answer on this. But Riskalyze allows you to do a risk profile questionnaire to your prospect and to your client. It also enables you to do a risk profile of the portfolio. And one of the things that we were doing internally in our practice was comparing the client's personal risk score with their portfolio to see if there was any difference there, and also try to tie it into the returns. And it looks to me like Riskalyze is now going to tie in, like, Sean, your personal risk score is a 60 and your portfolio risk score is an 85, and now possibly tie that together and maybe then alert me that your portfolio is a lot riskier than your risk score would dictate, like your personal risk score. Yeah. So this is something that we were monitoring on our own. Of course, again, manual, time consuming. Then there's mistakes because you're programming a spreadsheet and mistakes happen. It looks to me like Riskalyze is doing that. And if they're doing that, that's super exciting. So that's the type of thing where people come to the workshop and we bring this new information, and it helps to save time, help you to be efficient, help you to be compliant, and help you to better serve clients.
Yeah, right. Good. I see you're going to be discussing vanilla, and I forget what vanilla is. I know I've heard about it. Was it estate planning? I can't remember what the topic was.
Yeah, vanilla is like all over the place. And so hard to get it approved by the broker dealers. So that's the one thing with this software, is the broker dealers need to approve it. But it basically will analyze estate planning documents, but it's very expensive. Okay. And so, anyway, and so we talk about that a little bit. Not a lot of adoption with vanilla because it can cost $10,000, $20,000 a year. But we talk about it because for some people in their practice, that might be worth it for them.
Sure. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Especially with the estate planning issues, you wonder whether, again, we've talked about this many times before, whether your clients are really being fully served on the estate planning front.
Yeah. So that's a huge issue, right? Like, I feel like that's the next big frontier. I mean, taxes, we're never going to be through with taxes because it's dynamic. It's always changing.
Right.
But I feel like the next big frontier is the estate planning. Because nobody has any idea what their estate plan is. All right. I mean, I don't even remember what mine is. Ask me what my substitute trustee is of my trust. I don't remember who it is. Right.
Yeah, right.
And so I think it's a huge issue. And so internally, we've been working on trying to do outreach for clients so they understand what their estate plan looks like. And our RIA is helping us with that. So here's the thing, right? We didn't jump for vanilla. I was going to, because it bothers me so much. But our RIA is stepping in and helping us to do some of this analysis. Now, for those who don't have an RIA that's helpful, then you do want to look at this sort of next frontier. How are we going to serve clients there? And Money Guide Pro has a legacy planning tool. So we talked a little bit about how Money Guide Pro can help out, and then how vanilla can help out. And also if your RIA is there. So that's where you're sort of, talking about solutions. Yeah. It's, again, very workshop, very collaborative.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, good. Is there anything else you want to say about the upcoming workshop in general?
Yeah, I just say that people who are listening to this, again, it's very collaborative. We really cover a lot of ground in this, and there's something for everybody. So if you are a newcomer, you're going to learn a ton and help to sort of set your goals. If you are an experienced practitioner, I mean, we've had people who've been practicing for 20 or 25 years with really large books, and they are also, benefiting and learning. So I feel like no matter where you are, I gear the practice so that everybody is constantly walking away with insights and ideas, and also allows you to share. And then the other thing to remember is we do record it. And so you can have members of your team. If you can't make those 4 specific dates, you can have members of your team sit on, like your marketing person or whatever. And so there's some flexibility built in there too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, Debbie. And so that is horsesmouth.com/BBB W23. You can also find it on the events tab at horsesmouth.com. Plenty of time to still get in there. It starts next week on July 11th. And, everything's recorded. So even if you're away next week, you can still get caught up and be there for the next week. It's a great opportunity for everybody, and we hope to see you there. Thanks again, Debbie, and everybody out there. Take care. Stay cool. See you later.